Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now. Reality, spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Reality, spirituality. Oh, now we get real. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get down. Reality, spirituality. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Now, that's what I'm about to say. Time to get real.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your host, Rebecca Lynn Norrington, RLN, also known as RLN, and I am the world's only happiness specialist. You know, I'm getting a lot of new followers. I don't know how you people are finding me, but thank you for all my new followers, and welcome to the show. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. And what is Reality Spirituality? What kind of show is this? Who is this Rebecca L. Norrington anyway? I don't know her. Let me just share just a little bit. Just have patience, people that's been listening for a long time. When I was younger, I wanted two things. I wanted to live to my potential, and I wanted to be happy. And I didn't have any idea about what that meant, living to my potential. I just knew that I wanted to just be everything that I could be in this little body. And I wanted to be happy. You know, wanting to be happy, I wanted to feel good, and I wanted to feel good all the time. Was that even possible? I was searching for this thing that, listen, it's out there. Beyonce says it on her album. She says it in her songs. People, I want to be happy. I just want to be happy, right? So I was just like everybody else, searching, looking for this happiness, looking for this feeling. And what I found on this journey of wanting to feel good and feel better and feel good about myself and about my life, what I found is it ain't easy, folks, but there is a formula, and there are things to practice that will add to your happiness, and there are behaviors to eliminate that definitely subtract from your happiness. And that's all I do in every waking moment. Practice behaviors that add to happiness, and there's a list of them. There's a whole list. And eliminate the behaviors that subtract from happiness. And one of the behaviors that I thank goodness I practiced this, and I have to say, little pat on the back. Hold on a second. Let me reach my back. A little pat on the back. I have mastered having any expectations. I have zero expectations for anything to happen. I had a scheduled interview actually tonight from a woman in Australia, and she just started her podcast, and she reached out to me. She says, I would love to have you on the show. Now, this was at least 4 months ago, and it's been scheduled. I cleared a lot of time. Listen, I cleared my schedule, even though I don't do anything. I cleared the schedule. I cleared the time this evening to be interviewed. And lo and behold, Friday, was it Friday? I'm checking the calendar because usually, you know, when people schedule you on a show, they do a follow-up, especially when it gets close to the date. And I'm looking at my Google Calendar and it says, this appointment has been canceled. So my statement is this. Even though I was scheduled months in advance, even though I was, had notes, outlined what I was going to talk about, it didn't happen. And my life just kept moving on. the practice and the mastery of not having expectations. I know our topic is judgments today, but I just had to throw this out. Having expectations and eliminating all expectations. I don't care if you are scheduled to go to a restaurant at 1 o'clock. You're supposed to meet 3 of your best friends at 1 o'clock at the restaurant. Unless you are there having lunch or you see them right there at that specific time, there's no expectations until you show up, until the event is actually happening. Hey, shout out to New York City on the bus. Shout out to New York City. Listen, that's one of the things. Now, what I usually like to do in the beginning of the show is talk about what's in the news. That's my new outline for the show. And this week, I didn't really have anything specific, but I want to talk about something that is ongoing in the news. And there is so much. I've never heard the word Trump bannered around so much in my life. And yes, he's the president. Yes, there's tons of people that are just so unhappy and so bothered by this man being the president. But the problem is this, people. When you look out at anybody, I don't care if it's Trump or Obama or Bush or whoever it is, whenever you're looking out and finding fault in anybody else and you're pointing the finger and you're making a judgment about what they're doing or what they're not doing, as a person, as a president, as a mother, whoever it is, whenever you look out and you find fault with anyone else, you might as well be drinking poison. Because that is what is happening. That is actually what you are. You're consuming. I don't even know how to stress this enough. When you look out and find fault with any person or anything that is happening in the world, you might as well just drink the poison and get the effect of that. And we're going to start talking about judgments today because that is the topic. The topic is judgments. But before I do, I want to tell my new listeners what my definition of happiness is. My definition of happiness is to be able to be at peace, to be content, to feel satisfied in any single moment, regardless of what's happening and regardless of what's not happening. That's my definition of happiness, to be at peace with anything in any moment, regardless of what's happening and regardless of what's not happening. And you know what I've discovered this week? You know, people moving to Oregon, I don't know if you've listened to the show, but I moved to Oregon 9 months ago. And one of the questions that I always get from my California people are, what do you do? What is it that you do? I mean, I do have a couple of classes, fitness classes I teach twice a week. Well, it'll be twice a week in August. But the question is, what do I do? And let me tell you something. I came up with an answer to what does a happiness specialist do. Thank you, universe, for giving me this answer. You know what I do being a happiness specialist? This is what I do in every moment. I surrender to every moment without resistance and without judgment. Now, do I have that mastered? Hold on a second. Do I have that mastered? No, but I'm telling you that's what I practice. Surrendering to every moment without resistance. And you can feel you can feel resistance. Do you know how hard that is? Do you know how exhausting that is to surrender to every moment? That means that every moment that I experience is a perfect moment. Every moment that I experience, I'm not going to put a label on it or a judgment on it. Do you realize how much trust I have to surrender to every moment without resistance? That's what I do. Let me go to the phones really quick because I have a caller in, and I think I know. Welcome to Reality Spirituality, area code 347. Hello. Hello? Hello? Area code 347. Would you like to say hello? You called and you pressed the number 1. Hello? Going once? Hello?
Hello?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Oh, hey, I'm on the bus, if it's okay with you.
Yes, it's okay. Did you have a question or a comment?
No question or comment yet. I mean, you were talking about.
Because I just saw the number 1 press. The number 1, so I thought you had a question there. Okay, well, you can keep on listening if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, well, I'll chat a little bit. Just keep me posted on the
Okay.
sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's up? How's the show going so far?
Well, listen, I'm actually on my soapbox talking about judgments.
Yes. How they subtract from happiness and doesn't feel good to judge. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. My thing with that is, my new thing is that I really don't know other people's perspectives. I'm not really sure what's going on in their head. I don't know where they're coming from, what's going on with them that day. So all of these things that I don't know about other people kind of help me release judgment. Because I think for me, judgment happens when I feel like, oh, I know that they're like this, or I know that they're thinking like this, or I compare them to the way I think. So I think just releasing some of that knowing helps me with judgment.
Mhm.
And that they have a whole life story behind them too, like me. I've got all my moments and experiences behind me, and no one really knows all of the moments that made up me other than me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But as a happiness specialist, what I can say, regardless of knowing a person or not knowing a person, I can tell you exactly what's going to subtract from peace. I can tell you based on practice and based on judgment subtract from peace. Judgment subtract from happiness. I'm just making a blanket statement, not judging anyone. I'm letting anybody know that having expectations, making judgments, blaming somebody else, living in the past, living in the future, subtracts from peace. And that's what I'm here to share with people, what subtracts and what adds to their happiness and their peace. Everybody can do whatever you want to do, but I'm letting you know there's a formula for peace. There is a formula, and you're absolutely right. There is no way I can figure out why someone else is behaving. And that's another thing that subtracts from happiness, is noticing what anybody else is doing in the first place. Or as they say, why do you have your name in my mouth?
You're right. Get
right?
your name out my mouth. Yeah, no, get your name
Get your name out my mouth.
Yeah, that's clear. And so, so do you have a...
Anytime you have your somebody else's name in your mouth, you unless you're giving them praise, you are subtracting from your own happiness. Now, listen, it's an addiction. It is a habit. It is an ongoing. It is a programming. It is definitely a programming to look and find fault with anybody else, with anything else or anything else outside of self. Because let me say something. When that baby, and I'm going to put you on hold only because of the sound effect.
Okay.
Okay, just to put you on hold. Do you have a question, though?
No, I can also mute my phone too when I'm not talking.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay,
yeah,
that's a good idea.
And if you ask me a question, then I'll unmute it real quick.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let me see. Let me get back to my point. What is in the news? Okay. So let's just talk about this programming, because the baby, and I always go back to this, the baby that's 1.5, 2 years old, 6 months old. It is a programming that goes on, people. There is a programming that we're fighting against. It is the programming that has you feeling this way, not life itself. You know, I got a letter, an email actually from a gentleman, and I'm gonna read it because it was really interesting. He was talking about, let's see, I appreciate you. Well, thank you so much. He said, I used to live in California. Okay, I used to live in California, but 10 years ago, I was hit by a drunk driver with my fiance. She was killed, and the guilty person had rich parents. They hired a private attorney for $250,000, and he walked away scot-free. Maybe it was a karmic thing, but I have to release it to the universe. I miss part of California, but not the taxes and the traffic. Okay. I wish I could find a way to heal myself. There's so many modalities, and I can help others who are open, but for me, it's funky, sophisticated. So I'm going to try a soul history and find the issue and pray to release it. Now, now just listening to that, what are the things that you hear, Nathan? What are the first things that you hear in that letter?
Heal, unfair. He said, get over, and talking about the $250,000. Some things that popped out.
Mhm. And you know, it's exactly, and the same thing. This is what I wrote back. I wrote back, there's nothing to heal. There's nothing to release. You are perfect in every present moment. Acceptance of it all and letting go of yesterday and consciously living in the present moment is the solution. This programming of living, thinking, talking, being in the past, I mean, the ability to bring up a story in the past, and for that story to, is that Robert? If that's Robert, hey, Robert, welcome to the show. And the ability to bring up that story and still feel those emotions, all my question is, why the past subtracts from happiness also. There are certain behaviors, there are certain things that subtract from happiness. And listen, if you're not committed, and if you are not committed to wanting to feel more peace or more happiness, and again, this peace and this contentment is an internal feeling, and if you're not committed to that, and if that's not your priority, then talk about the past, live in the past, discuss the past, look at other people to point at other people. I mean, if either you prioritize wanting to feel peaceful and wanting to be content in every moment, or you don't, or you want to feel at peace maybe 70% of the time, or 50% of the time, or 90% of the time. I'm just throwing out numbers. But what I've found just for me is making a commitment in every moment for 100% of the time. 100%. I want to feel balanced. I want to feel peaceful. I want to be happy. All of those things, they are priority. And I raising my hand here, for me, I am helping, or my vibration that goes out into the world, I'm not even going to throw that out helping. Throw that comment out. I'm scratching that comment. That's my contribution to the world, me being at peace with myself and with life. these judgments, talking about judging, these judgments do subtract from happiness. They do subtract from your peace. And once you've labeled something good or bad, you're making a judgment. This is the really interesting thing. When I moved to Oregon, let me just step back a little bit. Years ago, I had two friends, and they were hunters. And they traveled to Africa, and they even had, this is when I lived in California, and they even had a room, it was a back room, set aside for all the animals that they killed. It was a trophy room, and it had heads of all different kinds of animals. They would go to Africa, and they would hunt, and they would come back, I guess, and have these animals stuffed and mounted. And they had at least, I think you remember that, Nathan, they had at least, I would say 15 different animals in this room. And I remember being totally feeling disgusted, making a judgment that hunting is wrong, all hunting, all killing is wrong, and how cruel, and you're not eating the animals, you're just killing them for trophies. I mean, oh my goodness, I was just fit to be tied. And I remember when I first saw the room, I went in maybe once or twice after that, and then I refused to even go into that room. That's how anti-hunting I was. Anti-hunting, anti-killing. It was just, hunters, how could you kill something? How could you shoot an animal? I remember saying, well, it's not even fair. If you want to go out there and kill an animal, why don't you just go out there and wrestle it down? Kill them with your bare hands. They don't have the advantage. But then when I moved to Oregon, and I don't know if this, I don't know. Then when I moved to Oregon, where I live, there's a lot of people that have a lot of land, and I'm telling you, these people are packing. These people have rifles. These people have guns. And, in fact, the house that I moved into had about 4 animals on their wall, trophy, stuffed with the heads and stuck on the wall. They had those animals in their home. And I remember just kind of shaking my head and trying to figure out, because, listen, I'm sorry, but my priority is wanting peace, and my priority is happiness, and my priority is this internal peace. Something had to break. Something had to give. My judgments about these people that were hunters, I couldn't hold on to that because it was competing. It was competing with my happiness. And anything competes with my happiness is going to have to step to the back. Anything that is competing with my peace is going to have to step to the back. That's just me. So when it was moving into the house with the animal heads, and then of course they took them down, and now I'm talking to people that are actually killing animals, and they hunt regularly. And I remember the guy that gives me a massage. This really threw me off. This guy that gives me a massage, from Oregon. And he said one of his neighbors had a dog that they needed to put the dog down. Well, these people don't take their dogs to the vet to have them euthanized. These people just take the dog in the backyard and shoot them. And he told me, he said his neighbor couldn't shoot her dog, so she asked him to do it. The dog was old, had health problems. And, it shook me up. Shoot a dog? How could you do that? But again, my priority is happiness. My priority is peace. That is a priority for me. And something's going to have to give. And I'm going to have to let go of those judgments about these people that are hunters. I'm going to have to let go about, just like Nathan said earlier, these people, I'll tell you this. If I was raised in any other country, my beliefs would be different. My behavior would be different. I look at the show Life Below Zero. I don't know if you've ever watched it, but it's about these people that live in Alaska, and that's how they eat. They don't go to supermarkets to buy their food. And quite frankly, those people in Alaska, they make judgments about people that go to supermarkets and buy their food. So what I can say is all judgments subtract from your happiness. All of them. All labels, all judgments. So if you are committed and if you prioritize wanting to be happier, practicing eliminating judgments is a necessity, is a key. Now, I gotta say something about this ego thing because this ego thing. Let me tell you something, people. Your ego is never satisfied. There is always something wrong. There is always something. There is always something other than the present moment that is wanted or desired or needed. And that's why this voice, this ego that is always telling, that the ego and the ego wants to make judgments. The ego wants to judge, but the universe, the sun shines on. I've said it before, shines on the serial killer and the Pope. The sun shines on all. The universe does not judge. That is a man-made practice, and any time man-made practice, man-made program, and any time you are living your life by a program, a man-made program, get ready, crash into the wall, and feel bad. Or, let me scratch that, feeling bad. That's another thing. Feeling good, feeling bad. Judgment, feeling, this day I feel good, this day I feel bad. Let me tell you something. This life is an experience of all different things. It is an experience. I used to say a roller coaster, up and down, but is up better than down? Is going up in a roller coaster better than going down in a roller coaster? So the labels have to go if you want to feel happier, if you want to feel more at peace. And the judgments have to go. These Oregon people, I got to give it up. I've never met, and even my friends in California that had the trophy room, they were really nice. Nice, generous, caring, but it's the judgments that kill. It's the judgments, and it's not your fault because you were not born judging. You were not born judging another person, and you were not born thinking about remembering the past. You ask a 2-year-old, "Hey, what did you do last week?" What if a 2-year-old? Who knows? Threw up, was sick, temperature. What happened a week ago? They're going to sit up there and recite their sickness a week ago. What I'm saying is that it's a practice, it's a programming to bring up the past and to relive the past and to talk about the past. Especially, I don't know why this is. It's interesting, especially when the past is not even serving you anymore. It's not a feel-good story about the past. Thank goodness the universe is getting rid of my memory because ask me about last week, I couldn't even remember. Don't want to remember, good or bad. Living in the present moment. Now let's see. People find me. Judgments. So I'm just saying, when you decide and you make a decision. Oh, let me say something else about this programming. When you are programmed, you don't have a choice. You have to follow the program. And when you realize that you are following a program, that is when that's when you have choice. But if you're following a program and if your beliefs are programmed, I'm telling you right now, you don't have a choice. It's when you make a conscious decision to change, to change or to eliminate all programs. That's when life changes. So Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. My website is RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Instagram, Reality Spirituality, YouTube channel. I have some new YouTube videos posted with my book signing that I had in October of last year. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, can be purchased on Amazon and or Lulu. My second book, Program for Unhappiness, will come out sometime this year. It'll be out whenever it comes out. How's that? Until next time, my dear audience, I want you to remember who you are. You're a physical extension of the universe. You're always changing. You're always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself. Be your own best friend. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. It is about the journey. It is about the present moment. It is about recognizing the programs, because it's the programs that are keeping you unhappy, not life. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Reality Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one now.